So Parshas Chukas, another one of these challenging parshias that we have in Sefer Bamidbar. So the pasuk says, "Vayisu mehar ahar derech Yam Suf." Right after Aaron HaKohen was nifter, l'svei v'se'er tzedon v'tiksa nefesh baruch v'yidaber ha'am b'Elokim u'b'Moshe. The people complained again, "Lama hel yisum mitzrayim lamas b'Midbar." Ki ein lechem ve'in mayim v'nafshenu kotza b'lechem ha'klelkel. There's no bread and there's no water. What do you mean there's no bread? There's mon every single day. So the people are complaining. Nafshenu kotza b'lechem ha'klelkel. We're sick of mon. You know, if there is some recurring theme of the complaints of the people, it's the mon. They claim to blame the mon in Parshas Ba'aleischa. You know, I guess what the French saying, whatever change, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Everybody complains about the food. They're complaining about the food, even though it would seem that mon is the last thing in the world you should complain about. You want pizza, mon is pizza. You want rib steak, it's rib steak. You want, I don't know, whatever you want. Coleslaw, it's coleslaw. Whatever you want. So then, what's the problem? Why are they? What's the problem with the mon? It's important to point out. You know, we just talked about this in Parshas Ba'aleischa. Parshas Ba'aleischa, what is today is Chukas. Before that is Kairach. Before that is Shlach. Before that is Ba'aleischa. This is 3-4 weeks ago, and you're complaining again. So here's the thing that some people don't realize. Between Parshas Ba'aleischa and Parshas Chukas is 38 years. Meaning the first parshias of Sefer Bamidbar, Nosei, Ba'aleischa, Shlach, Kairach, are all relatively in the beginning of the sojourn in the Midbar. Parshas Chukas, they're now on the Gvul of Eretz Yisrael. They're on the threshold of Eretz Yisrael. It's 38 years. It's not like, hey, 2 weeks ago I complained about the mon, come up with something different. This is 38 years, but still the question remains, why is the mon? And which is even perhaps stranger than this, the pasuk says, "Vayemer Hashem," the complaint, "Vayemer Hashem el Moshe aseh lecha sor v'simay soy al neis v'haya ka'anashuch v'roso v'chay." What happened is Rabbi Shalom went ahead and sent snakes to go ahead and to bite them, and it took a toll on the people, and the people got injured or sick because of the snake bites. So what does the pasuk say for Moshe Rabbeinu to do? I want you to go ahead and put on a picture, a facsimile of a snake, put it on a stick, and everybody who would look up at this stick, he did it, made it out of copper. This is very strange. The people deserve to be punished. In the past, Rabbi has punished them with a magefa, with sreifa, with the ground opening up. The Rabbi came up with a new thing over here, a snake. But what's is even more strange is, what is the antidote for the snake? To look at the snake. It's like, you know, that's very, very strange. Matter of fact, I may ask, as an aside, you know what the international symbol for medicine is? It's called the caduceus. You know what the caduceus is? It's 2 snakes wrapped around a stick. You know where that came from? It came from Parshas Chukas, because that's refuah. But the question, nevertheless, is why snakes, and why is the terufa, why is the antidote looking at the snake? So perhaps the answer is The Gemara tells us in Masechta Yuma, Shal Talmidav es Rab Shimon ben Yochai, Mimnei lo yorad lohem Yisrael pamachas b'shana. They had to get mun every single day. Why wouldn't it have been more effective, the Gemara asked? They asked Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai to get mun once a year. Maybe Rosh Hashanah, maybe Sukkot, whatever it may be, but get mun once a year. Wouldn't that be more efficient? Zogt the Gemara Melcham Moshel Lamahad over Daimon Lamelech Bosav Adam Sheish LeBen Echad Pasach Lemezanaisav Pamachas Bashana V'Lohoya Makabel Pnei Oviv Ela Pamachas Bashana. Says the Gemara Moshel to a king who went ahead and gave him his son his parnasa for the entire year, and guess what? The son kept up with the father once a year when he needed the money. Oman Pasach Lemezanaisav B'Chol Yaim. So he went ahead and he gave him Mezainis for one day. Af Yisrael, person who has 5 or 6 kids, he has to worry every single. How am I going to feed my kids? So every day he goes out and there's one on his doorstep. The Rebbeinu Shalom sent me. The Rebbeinu Shalom sent me. It reinforces the kesher between the person and the Rebbeinu Shalom. That's the mashal of the Melech. When I was in the yeshiva, first came to yeshiva in the 1960s, my father, Olav Hashalom, used to send me a check every single week like clockwork for, my needs, toothpaste, a piece of cake, sodas, etc., for $5. That's all the spending money I need, $5. A check every week. In those days, there was no credit cards. There was no Zelle. The word Zelle hadn't been invented. I didn't have a bank account. Couldn't transfer money. ACH. So he sent me a check. I had a constant relationship with my father. Today, what does the typical yeshiva guy have? There's a credit card. The only time he hears from his father or father hears from him is when he goes over the limit. So that's not a good situation. Which means to say that, of course, even if you don't talk to your father every day, but nevertheless, the fact that you have this ongoing relationship with your father or lahavdil with Rebbeinu Shalom, that's good for you. It's very good for you. This is a concept that the Sfas Emes writes about. When the Nachash seduced Ovan and Chava to their chait, so the Rebbeinu Shalom cursed the Nachash. So what was the curse of the Nachash? The curse of the Nachash was, Ofar teichal kol yemei chayecha, you'll eat dirt for the rest of your existence. Hey, that's a great deal, because you never run out of dirt. There's always dirt. So the Nachash has it made in the sun. The answer says, no, he doesn't. He has the worst curse, because he has no relationship with Rebbeinu Shalom ever again, because his food is always there. The worst klola, Rabbi say, is your detachment from the Rebbeinu Shalom. And therefore, over here, why were they complaining about the mun? What's wrong with the mun? The answer is, what they didn't like? They didn't like that I'm constantly dependent on the Rebbeinu Shalom, and I don't feel a sense of independence, and I can't get away from him, because every single day I have to come onto the Rebbeinu Shalom, which got to them. Even though it's a bracha, but they didn't like it. So the Rebbeinu Shalom says, no, well, listen, the punishment for this is the type of animal, the type of being that doesn't have a relationship with God. And you know what that animal is? The Nachash. So therefore, the punishment for these people who complained about their ongoing relationship with God is to go ahead and to think about the Nachash, who is cursed by not having a relationship with God. And there the truth is to look up at the Nachash, and therefore look up at the sky And think about the Ribbon Shalom, who's the Hu Hanesin Chokoyach Lasas Choyol. He provides everything. He provides the parnasa, he provides the health and everything else. And that's why it's appropriate that the punishment was the nachash, and the terufa, the antidote, was the nachash.